My latest trip has been to a country that has been in great political controversy lately. It's a country that many love and many despise. But it's also a place that 1.5 billion people pray towards. This place is none other than Saudi Arabia. But many people, Saudis included, may be surprised to know that the Desert Kingdom is filled with awe-inspiring landscapes. And while the land of the Bedouins is modernising at a rapid pace, the country is nevertheless fascinating to see. I spent a whole 3 weeks traversing this vast country, travelling to Jeddah, Jizan province, Abha, Riyadh, the Waba crater, and Tabuk province, and I still felt that there was much more to see. Although Saudi Arabia does not issue tourist visas, I entered the country on a pilot eVisa scheme called the Sharek International Visa. This visa was available to people wanting to attend the Formula E race in Riyadh and the Supercoppa Italiana football match in Jeddah. I attended the second. However, my main purpose of going to Saudi Arabia was not to watch the match. It was to explore the country.
So I arrived in Jeddah like really late last night at about 2 a.m. and this is like our first day here. This guy, Felix, messaged me like yesterday saying he's found me on couch surfing, and basically he was asking me questions about like the football game that we're going to see. And it turns out that we're actually staying in the same place. We've got the same host, and I woke up this morning to find him in my room. So like the coincidence is crazy. But basically, yeah, we're just walking through the old city of Jeddah right now, and it's pretty hot considering the time of year. But the buildings, they're pretty beautiful. But I think we're here at the wrong time of day really, because there's not really that many people about. But tonight, perhaps it will be more busy.
As the day grew later, the neighbourhood got busier and busier, with most people coming out after sunset. The old city of Jeddah is filled with coral houses, some of them dating back to more than 400 years. The neighbourhood is filled with markets, stalls, pilgrims on their way to Mecca, and a diverse range of nationalities. And although I haven't been, the architecture here reminded me of some of the pictures I've seen of neighbouring Yemen. It was when wandering through these streets that I really felt like I had arrived in Arabia. Here, you can see a vendor selling twigs known as miswak. Miswak sticks are traditionally used as natural toothbrushes, and they are a common sight on the Arabian Peninsula and Islamic world. We then found our way into one of the old Jeddah buildings, which had been revamped as a museum. Despite being simplistic, the architecture here was beautiful.
So right now we're in, what's the name of this place?
It's a Matbouli Museum.
Yeah.
It's a house.
Can I come in?
Okay. It's an old house that dates back to 400 years, but now it has become a museum. Everyone just is currently here. Nobody lives here, but you know, it is just a house, but it is a historical house, and then it has become a museum.
Yeah. So it's located in like the old city of Jeddah, an area called Al-Balad.
Yes.
And like there's beautiful bustling markets outside, and yeah, it's really interesting around here. It feels like a different city really to other parts of Jeddah, especially like the Corniche area and the more modern parts of the city.
The Jeddah Corniche is an extremely long promenade which stretches a whole 30 kilometres down the coastline. The Corniche acts as the city's main area for recreation, where people from all walks of life spend their evenings strolling, doing sports, or simply enjoying the sea breeze. It's also a popular place for picnicking. The Corniche is home to Jeddah's iconic floating mosque and the city's aquarium. The most spectacular sight along the Corniche, however, is the King Fahd Fountain. This fountain is the tallest in the world, reaching a height of 312 metres, more than double the height of the Geneva Fountain. The Corniche is practically devoid of people in the morning and afternoon. However, it remains busy well into the night. This is the Corniche at roughly 2 a.m. on a weekday.
So we just took the bus from Jeddah to the city of Jizan in southern Saudi Arabia, very close to the Yemeni border. And it was quite a long bus journey. It was roughly 11 hours. It was meant to be 13, but we ended up arriving like 2 hours early. It's still pretty damn hot in this region of Saudi Arabia. Even though it's winter, it's still like 30 degrees. But right now we're headed to a place called Wadi Lajab, which is meant to be this really beautiful valley. It's about 120 kilometers away from the city of Jizan. We've just rented a car and yeah, we're off there now. So yeah, super excited. It's going to be quite an adventure.
Arriving in Wadi Lajab, the scenery immediately reminded me of places I'd visited in the Sultanate of Oman, where I used to live. Wadi Lajab was like a green oasis in an otherwise arid landscape, making it a very welcome change in scenery.
So currently I'm in Wadi Lajab, which for sure is the most beautiful place I've been in Saudi Arabia so far. The locals we've seen here are super friendly. They've welcomed me to Saudi Arabia, saying that it's my second home, and they're really keen to speak to me actually. Like, foreigners are a rare sight in this area. But yeah, the locals are quite interesting as well. They look quite Yemeni. They wear the traditional Yemeni dagger called the khanjar, and yeah, it's very different to other regions of Saudi Arabia, but it's absolutely worth a visit.
Here, you can see a local goat herder wearing traditional clothes. His janbiya is visible and is worn around his waist. Following our trip to Wadi Lajab, we drove to the nearby Jebel Aswad area, which is famous for its beautiful mountain views, its friendly locals, and one more thing, its garth. Garth is the name given to leaves chewn mostly in Yemen and Somalia. When chewn for a long time, these leaves supposedly make you high. Although illegal in Saudi Arabia, local authorities tolerate their plantation and use in areas bordering Yemen, as it is seen as embedded in their local culture. The following day, we headed to the Faifa Mountains, which were a few kilometers away from Yemen. These mountains are famous for their greenery and their terraced farming. It felt like we were in the Philippines, rather than Saudi Arabia. Something that may be of surprise to people is that this region of Saudi Arabia is filled with baboons. They regularly block the roads. However, they did seem pretty peaceful, unlike baboons in other parts of the world.
Currently I'm in a town called Hurub, which is like roughly an hour's drive away from the Faifa Mountains. It's also beautiful here, but there's not really that much to do except just look at these views. But the weather is boiling. It's like 32 degrees and this is winter, so this is like the coldest time of year. I cannot imagine what it's like here in the summer.
The following day, we took a free car ferry from the city of Jizan to the wonderful Farasan Islands, located in the southern part of the Red Sea.
So we arrived in the Farasan Islands this morning, and initially it didn't really seem that beautiful. It just seemed like a couple of buildings and a normal Saudi town really, like the main city of Farasan. But we've driven around this island and we have found these absolutely stunning places. I am blown away by the colour of this water, by the mangrove forest behind me, and literally the fact that there's nobody there except me and my friend. It's absolutely insane. If you're in Jizan province, you have to visit the Farasan Islands. They are amazing.
We spent one full day and a night on the main island in this archipelago. Most of our time was spent exploring the island's natural coastal beauty, visiting its beaches and mangrove forests. However, Farasan has got more to offer than just that. A friendly local called Yahya decided to show us an old ruined village, as well as some Ottoman remains on the island. After a full day in the Farasan Islands, we returned to the mainland, spending a day relaxing and trying the local cuisine. Due to its proximity to Yemen, the food here is very Yemeni, and it's delicious. The dish on the left is known as fahsa, which is made of lamb, herbs, and spices. The dish on the right is known as lahsa, which is made of spices, cream, and egg. Meals in this region tend to be cooked and served in stone pots and eaten with bread. This dessert is called arika, which is made of bread, dates, honey, and cheese. After leaving Jizan province, we headed to Abha, where we saw ancient ruined villages, canyons grander than most, cloud-shrouded mountains, and more baboons. The city of Abha is a popular summer destination for Saudis, where they go to escape the heat that prevails in other parts of the country.
So right now we're in the town of Rijal Al Ma, which is roughly a 1-hour drive from the city of Abha in southern Saudi Arabia. It's an old village basically, but it's been revamped and restored for tourists, and you can wander through all the old buildings and yeah, just explore the area really. It costs 20 Saudi riyals to get in here, so that's about £4 British, and yeah, it's totally worth it.
That's all for this video, but don't forget to tune in to part 2 of my Saudi series, where you'll see me visit beautiful natural sites, the country's capital, Riyadh, and the northern province of Tabuk.